Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Constance and today we are reviewing Fashion Week Spring Summer 2025. Let's get started. Alaïa showed its winter spring collection in New York in the Guggenheim Museum. The reason the show was held in New York was because of the meaning the city had for Azzedine, where he opened his first store, and the meaning that also has for Peter, who lived and worked there for 3 years. The collection was an ode to American beauty and freedom of body and spirit, according to the press release. So we saw a lot of movement, volume, and pieces without bottoms or zippers. There was a sporty vibe too, with harem pants, bandeau bras, skater skirts, and this denim coat. Mugler also made some references to American designers like Holston, Adrian, and Charles James. This petite jacket, for example, could have been inspired by the Charles James puffer jacket. It was in navy blue, white, and black. The highlights of the show were 3 sculptural cutout dresses that wrapped the models' bodies and that aligned perfectly with the museum's architecture. Also, these 2 brush fur spiral knitted coats in pink and white. Michael Stewart presented Standing Ground's first collection after winning the LVMH prize. It consisted mostly of monochromatic dresses with beautiful details of what seemed to be beads covered with fabric, placed differently in each design. Like here, they are placed in the middle. On this one instead, they are in the skirt of the dress. I think it's one of my favorites. And here, they look like a bunch of huge pearl necklaces. Very cool. There were also cutouts and a little bit of draping, along with some leather pieces like this beautiful coat with beading details on the side, as well as this jacket and this dress right here. I can't wait to see what the next collection will be like. For Spring-Summer 2025, Roksanda draws inspiration from the work of Agnes Deans, a conceptual artist. It was set in London's Space House, where its architecture and huge crystals went perfectly with the collection. On the runway, we saw some cutout tailoring in neutral colors at the beginning, followed by lots of colorful dresses. Some had fringes, other big bows, and 2 were off the shoulder. For the shoes, the brand collaborated with FitFlop to make the shearling shoes. Also, an interesting fact is that the prints of some of the gowns were inspired by the designer's hometown in Belgrade and the landscapes found on the shores of 2 rivers, the Sava and the Danube. Now, before flying to Milan, we need to talk about Steve O. Smith. He hand draws his designs and then transfers the sketches onto black fabric appliques to embody his mark makings. This time, he took inspiration from the work of the Expressionists of Berlin in the 1910s and the silent movie Pandora's Box, which starred Louise Brooks. He makes things to order, so you have to wait for the final product, kind of like a modern atelier, which I think is really cool to do nowadays when everybody wants everything right away. The inspiration for Spring-Summer was the life of a scientist, so the show started with a white organza coat reminiscent of the ones you wear in the lab. As the collection went on, we saw different kinds of shirts, tailored pantsuit with a loose fit, paired with deep V-neck sweaters, and several dresses. like this beautiful strapless sculpted midi dress, or these 3D maxi dresses paired with colorful latex gloves. And there were some leather pieces too, like sculpted jacket with bottoms and this midi skirt with pockets. Oh, and let's not forget about this gorgeous set with a wire ruffle detailing skirt. Actually, there are many details to admire in this collection. Finally, Naomi closed the show in this beautiful white gown. A thoughtful detail was that all the books the models carried were by female authors, like Pride and Prejudice, Frankenstein, and The Human Condition, to name a few. We all know Missoni and its iconic characteristic zigzag pattern. Well, this time it was presented in 3D, in primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, and black and white. We saw them on long skirts and several tops, where the zigzagging was made of various layers of fabric, like here. The same pattern was also printed on dresses and leggings. Now, the idea behind the 3D zigzagging motif was inspired by Ruth Asawa's work, who was known for her looped wire sculptures. Other pieces included dresses made from knotted ribbons, others adorned with fringes, and this mini dress full of geometric shapes. Speaking about that, the accessories were all big golden geometric forms. We are talking about earrings, rings, and big chunky necklaces, circles and squares entangled together. Lots of shape and volume. Boobs from Ankles was the title of Roberto Cavalli's Spring 2025 show. It references the original name for Messina, a city in the northeast Sicily. Fausto Puglisi was inspired by it to create new designs, while he also paid homage to founder Roberto, featuring some archive looks. The show started with some white, ivory, and ecru looks, all in natural fabrics. Dresses with cutout, slouchy pants with rope belts, with cute little shells, jackets and skirts with gold buttons, and some netting pieces alluding to a fisherman's net. Like this trench right here, or this mini dress adorned with tiny seashells. Then the prints followed. We saw python, prints first, and then deep seas, ocean waves in maxi dresses, and sunset prints. Also, look at these 3 shiny sequin dresses. I think they are absolutely beautiful. At the show's end, there were 7 archive looks designed by Roberto Cavalli, worn by some top models who had previously walked the brand's runway years ago. 3 separate print slip dresses in blue, red, and green from Fall/Winter 2000. A black leather and chiffon siren gown from Fall/Winter 2003. And 3 feathered gowns from Fall/Winter 2004. The theme at Bottega was childhood and how we shouldn't forget about our inner child when we grow up. The first thing people saw as soon as they entered the room was the different animal beanbag chairs. When the show started, the models appeared in oversized blazers with padded shoulders, grunge flannel shirts, wrinkled t-shirts, asymmetrical skirts, two-toned sets, and trench leather coats. Oh, and some printed pieces too. From some of the objects the models carried, it looked like they were doing daily activities, like going to the supermarket, buying flowers, going to work, and picking up the kids from school. Now off to Paris we go, and first we have Dries Van Noten. The Antwerp team designed the collection at Dries Van Noten, given that Dries has stepped out of the brand. The styling was relaxed, with sleeves rolled up and loose pants, and there was this mix between the masculine and feminine. Printed Bermuda pants with shirts and blazer, followed by slip dresses with lace details. As for prints, the designers rework and enlarge orchids and exotic flowers to the point of abstraction, making them appear like brushstrokes or blurred. So you can't tell right away that they are flowers, but if you look closely, like on this trench for example, and the silk georgette that's underneath, or in this other trench in white and red. Python was another print, except it wasn't real skin. It was either a python effect leather or thousands of painted sequins that mimicked the snake motif. To the end there were jackets with silver embroideries applied by hand. Now we have to talk about the makeup on the surely. The color palette was the same as the cloth, fuchsia, purple and bright orange. And look at those bold red earrings. Jewelry was strong and sculptural, most of them in silver. What do you think? Did the team do a good job? Yves Saint Laurent's ideal woman was himself. That's what he said in an interview in the early 2000s, and that was the inspiration and starting point behind this collection. The first part of the show recalled Yves' way of dressing. So it involved fluid suits with ties, pinstripe shirts, and jackets over blazers. Even the chunky eyeglasses were present. Most of the outfits were accessorized with big gold bracelets. At the end of the show, the evening wear came into the scene. Sleeveless turtlenecks in lace, bright skirts in colors like red, blue, orange, and brocade jacket with broad shoulders. And look at the cute buttons that they have. Oh wait, I have to show you the accessories. Also, the blue floor that referenced Eve's garden in Marrakesh, moistened by the rain, was the perfect setting. The House of Mugler celebrated its 50th anniversary. For this collection, Kat Wadeler, the creative director, was inspired by flowers, a recurring theme in fashion history, and part of Mugler's heritage for the merging of nature with sci-fi and technology. He also took inspiration from archive pieces from the 90s. Among the looks were tops made from layers of silk organza that imitated petals. Petals were placed in various dresses and tops in different ways and forms. A fishnet cage bustier dress with matching shoes. This wool jacket with fishnet embroidery. Plus this beautiful transparent hand-embroidered crystal dress. Yes, it's a dress, it looks like a trench, or at least that's what I thought when I first saw it, but it's a dress. And we have a new Mugler bag, the Fang bag. What do you think? At Schiaparelli, the name of the collection was Future Vintage. Daniel Roseberg designed it with not only the current clients in mind, but with their daughters and granddaughters too. So the idea here was to make a collection that one could pass through generations. Like, if you're lucky enough to have somebody in your family who owns a Schiaparelli, you'll probably want to borrow it, right? So that was kind of the idea. On the runway, we saw a lot of white, black, animal prints, metallics, and bright colors like red, orange, and turquoise. Now let's see a few pieces up close. This white polo bodysuit with a draped skirt and a bow that ends in a braid. Remember the braid, right? We saw it in the fall of 2024, ready to wear. A sculptural drape maxi dress with a denim bustier at the waist. A single-breasted jacket in zebra with matching cowboy trousers. And this straight coat also in zebra with a matching miniskirt. A transparent polo shirt bodysuit worn over a satin corset with a pareo skirt, and again the braid detail. These two metallic dresses, one with a signature keyhole in the front. And last, some tulle pieces embroidered with hand-painted sequins in floral motifs. The bags match the outfits in zebra prints, denim, and my favorites, the ones with gradations. At Loewe, a single sculpture was in the middle of a white room. It was a small bronze bird perched on a pole by the British artist Tracey Emin. The models started to show up in wire hoop dresses in floral prints. They were light and flowy and seemed like they were floating. Then pants and shirts made of feathers, some plain and some printed with paintings of famous artists or camouflage patterns. The highlights of the show were two mother-of-pearl shells trench coats. Yes, you've heard that right. Mother-of-pearl is a natural material from the inner layers of shells. To make the coats, mother-of-pearl was cleaned, cut, and applied by hand. Other pieces include soft leather pants and jackets, and a few tailored pieces with a relaxed fit. Last but not least, we have another new bag. There are many new bags this season. The Madrid bag. It's in the shape of a trapezoid and it's named after the brand's founding city. In this show, everything from the designs to the setting evokes freedom and the beauty of life. The flowers, the flowy dresses, the bird, the feathers, the mother of shells that take us to the sea, and eventually life. I think it's beautiful. Congrats to Jonathan Anderson on his 10 years at Loewe. Thread Blossom was the name of the collection at Rokh. This season theme include crafting flower shapes by hand from leftover recycled fabrics, laces, and threads, giving them entirely new forms and life. The idea of merging the past with the present and the future, if you will. Blooms were in different kinds of tops with long sleeves, no sleeves, and in tailor coats. In addition, gowns made from different fabrics, ripped jeans, cutout shirts, bottoms everywhere, zippers, trousers folded with drape fabric, oversized coats, and glasses adorned with little flowers. It is a collection with many details that must be seen up close, really. At Alexander McQueen, Sean McGeer drew inspiration from the Banshee and the 1994 collection by Lee around the same subject. The Banshee in Irish folklore is a woman whose keening foretells the death of a family member of the person who hears the spirit. The show included shirts with big cursive colors, a 3D tailored jacket with gold metal embroidery. Lee's feathers were reinterpreted in coats and dresses made of organza tendrils. Pleated dresses and blouses with high collars. This grey dress with feathers and gold beads. And the grand finale. A handmade silver gown with trailing metal and crystal chain embroidery. with a matching headpiece that was his interpretation of the banshee. This is the second runway show by Sean, and I think he's done so much improvement from his debut collection. Yes, it's still lacking a bit of drama, and his tailoring is not least, but he made so many good pieces with incredible details, and he even brought us one of the dresses of the season, if not the dress of the season. Chanel was back at the Grand Palais, finally. An open birdcage was installed in the middle of it, making a nod to freedom and inspired by the miniature object that Gabrielle had at her apartment at Rue Cambon. We saw the birdcage before, bags, accessories, and the famous advertising with Vanessa Paradis from the 90s. And it makes sense because this collection is inspired by freedom and pioneering females like Air Women, the author Colette, and Chanel herself, of course. Now, the collection itself consisted of tweed jackets, aviator jackets, Peter Pan collars, workwear inspired jumpsuits, skirts and capes made from silk muslin in pastel colors, knitted sets with black details, and beautiful pieces adorned with feathers like this coat right here, or this white tweed set. For Spring-Summer 2025, Lacoste celebrated its founder René Lacoste in vacation mode and tennis fashion of the 20s and 30s. In the ceiling was a monumental net sculpture by the British artist Susie McMurray. The models wore blazers with shorts, knitted vests, classic polo shirts, and others with a twist. Cut-out bodysuits, backless dresses, and v-necks too. Clothes inspired by 20s swimwear. By the way, did you know that René Lacoste's nickname was the crocodile, hence the logo, which was printed and embroidered on shirts and dresses? And it's here too, in brooches and belts. Finally, lots of pleated skirt in homage to, I'll try to say it right, Suzanne Lenglen, a famous champion of that time. Oh, and take a look at this bag that seems like the front and back of a pleated skirt. Cool, right? Last but not least, Coperni closed Fashion Week in Disneyland Paris, being the first fashion brand to hold a Fashion Week show there. It took place in front of a Sleeping Beauty castle. The collection tells the story of modern princes and princesses, heroes and villains. It unfolded in 3 acts, each with different characters. The first one to come were the Park Tribes, with models wearing vintage Disney t-shirts, slip dresses, and matching sets adorned with organza butterflies, boyfriend jeans, and sleeveless v-neck dresses with ruffle details. In addition, some looks inspired by The Little Mermaid, like the ones right here. Then the villains arrived, in structured black gowns. This hoodie with horns, yes, the cap has 2 horns, and asymmetrical trench coats and dresses, some of them in python print. Finally, the princesses came, wearing mini dresses with bionic flowers that were molded and placed by hand, made by La Marche Lab. Big sleeves, and to close the show, a strapless black ball gown. And let's not forget the start of the show, the crystal swipe bag made by Swarovski from approximately 10 kilograms of Swarovski crystal glass. That's all, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and please comment on what you think about this fashion week, the shows, the collections, or anything you want about it. I want to know. And I will talk to you in next video. Bye!